Hello, everybody. It is Saturday. How we doing tonight? Vina's in first tonight. Krita, how are you? How we doing, people? Dennis is with us. Nancy. Jennifer. Did I screw you up, Jennifer, by coming on a minute early? Sonia. Karen. It is Saturday. It is absolutely Saturday, folks. I know it gets confusing here, but we're going through it. Joanne is with us. It's okay. They almost tried to do dinner tonight before I got on, and that didn't really work out. But that's okay. We're trying. We'll get dinner afterwards. How's Joanne tonight? This beautiful Saturday night. Well, it's not really beautiful. Tomorrow's going to be a nice day. Tomorrow's going to be supposed to be beautiful outside.
Is it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be almost 60 tomorrow.
Oh, I haven't heard.
Sunny. But the sun was supposed to squeak out today, so I don't know if it's going to squeak out tomorrow.
I don't know. Since I'm not watching the news, I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Hey, Greta.
Not on the news anymore.
Hey, Dana. Welcome to the party here this Saturday night.
Ready?
Yes. It's Saturday night dance party.
At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong. And I learned how to get along, so now you're back from outer space.
Come on, everybody, get up out of your chairs.
You here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock. I should have made you leave your key. I don't know for just one second you'd be back to bother me. Go on now, babe.
Yes, you will, Kitty. Number one song.
Just turn around
1979.
Sure not welcome anymore.
This time of year, 1979. This was the number one song. And we will survive. No, you will not crumble. You will not lay down and die. We will survive this. As long as you know how to love. Yes.
All right.
All right, folks. You will survive. We love you too, Dana. So go ahead. It is time to... Hey, Cindy. How are you? Julie Jankowicz, you missed the dance party. Folks, it's grateful time. What are we grateful for? Start me out with what we are grateful for this Saturday. Tell me what we are grateful for. Thank you, Julie. I was worried you didn't get the start there. I was worried that when it popped up on my screen that you were on, that it didn't that you didn't get the music, the groove. Awesome. An amazing day of online sales. Beautiful day outside. Your bookkeeper being Vina, your bookkeeper Cindy, and if I got her name right, I get bonus hearts, but I'm pretty sure her name is Cindy. She's awesome. I love her. And even if I have her name wrong, I still love her. She's a great bookkeeper. I'm seeing thumbs up from Vina, so that means I got the name right, which is very rare for me. That's right. Customers who want nothing more than you to get through this, so they can shop and consign again. Karen from Found is with us. All right. Bailey is with us. Opposite ends of the world. Bailey and Karen. That is awesome. I love how you both popped on my screen at the same time there. What else are we grateful for, folks? Amazing online and live sales. All right, Marianne. I think you should get the police officer to do some of those sales, Marianne. You know, he could do a little thing, carry the bag. I mean, I think he would do better than Zach, but hey. Howdy, Kelly. Welcome to the party, everybody. Nancy Sheeler, good to see you joining us. Well, I have to start with some sad news and good news. We did it. We killed a bottle of scotch. Costco scotch. Killed it. That's the sad news. Good news is we have another bottle. Thank you, Cassandra, for keeping us stocked. And Julie's Bank is participating in the PPP. That's a very good thing. We're going to talk a little more about the PPP. I think it's going to be our weekend topic because there's some idiosyncrasies. I've talked with a lot of you individually today about the PPP, and we have some more to talk about with that. So there's stuff there. So I have a new book tonight because it is Saturday night story time. So this book is pretty cool because it is good morning, good night. And so it's got all sorts of little idiosyncrasies, good sayings to make you think. So things may never be like this again. That could be good news or bad news to you, but it's true nonetheless. Good morning. So that is our good morning. We will have a good night part too, and see how that ends. So, as we have a Super Saturday here, one of the things I want you to be thinking about, and we're going to talk more about this in the coming days, is vision and your vision board for after all this. What does your store look like? How do you operate differently? What is on your vision? What is your dream? Where is your roadmap taking you for your stores? And I've talked to I've talked to tons of you today because I got my phone count down under 50. I got it down under 50 calls to make, people, and I'm really excited about that. But I will get to all of you. So I promise you, if I owe you a call, if you are still in my queue, I am calling everybody. Absolutely. Keep in mind, my average call is about a half an hour or so there's only so many hours in the day. You guys do the math. I start early and go late, but I do return everybody's call and follow up with everybody on their individual situation. So do not fear. I will follow up with you. But I want you to be thinking about after, because the resale's greatest days are ahead of us, not behind us. And I truly feel that if we're able to restart in May, like I am optimistic that we will, a lot of our stores are still operating in some way. I mean, some of your stores, I've talked to you today, these online sales, you're doing more with you and your husband or you and your kid than you do some days with a staff of 10 people in your stores. So that is super exciting. So how are you going to parlay that into being more efficient when you have your staff back? What are you going to change to allow for that to be? What is your vision? What does your world look like in post-apocalypse? But I am super pumped because I think that a lot of stores, even after losing almost 2 months of sales, are going to end this year up, okay? And I truly believe that. And so we're going to have to write our vision of how that happens. Hey, Ellen, how are you? It's great to have you with us tonight. Hi to Mike. Hi to the beach. Great video you did earlier on making masks. Really appreciate that. I'm not coordinated enough to do that, but I have people. Cassandra's working on it. She is crocheting some masks and working on that when we drive in. So, hey, Rose. So that is really great. So a few things here today. That today isn't a too heavy a day here today. Because it's Saturday, but tomorrow we'll have some new stuff. Okay, as we're in the first part of April here, we need to remember to hang on to cash. I've talked to a lot of you about that today, and cash is king. You need to hang on to it for your priorities. Your priorities are food in your belly, your people paid, your staff paid, your consignors paid in whatever manner you normally pay them, okay? And what was my fourth thing? I have 4 things that I've always been telling you to pay. Oh, insurance. Insurance cancels on the date and time that it says it's going to cancel if it doesn't have money. So make sure you're taking those as your priorities and hanging on to cash. Because again, we don't know when the end is. I'm feeling better and better. We're going to get to the end sooner versus later, but we don't know when that is. So hang on to cash as much as possible. Communicate with people. People will wait. Other people that you owe money to will wait. If you don't have the cash, but hang on to cash. You know, people are like, well, I'm going to get that 10 grand in 3 days. Well, 3 days has come and gone. Okay. The reality is that's probably a 2-week thing, but you will get that 10 grand if you applied for the, advance with the EIDL loan. You will absolutely get it, but it's not coming in 3 days. So don't mail checks for things that you haven't gotten the money for. Hey, Angie, Adele, and Pat, and Michelle's there too. Hey, Michelle, I emailed you tonight. So we're going to get there, and we're going to get there sooner than not. But keep that in mind, because cash is king, and I do not want you to run out of whatever cash we have. The Acostas have joined us. Chicago is in the house, or the Chicago suburbs. Talked to several people in that area today. Several people have asked about whether 1099s count into the PPP. They do not, because 1099 people can either are going to be able to apply for unemployment or be able to apply for their own PPP. So 1099s, I do not scold anybody. When do I scold anybody? I might laugh at somebody, Michelle, but I don't scold. People are always worried that I'm going to be judgy. Tell people, everybody that I've been to, I'm not judgy. I may laugh with you, I may cry with you, but I don't judge. This is not about judging. It's about getting us to the other side. It's about being better stores. It's about being better members of our community when we get through this. I mean, I want to make our industry the most profitable, the most thriving thing that comes out of this. We are resale strong, and we're going to get there, and we're going to be an unbelievably hot, thriving industry, and you are going to be more profitable than you ever were before. That is my greatest goal for all of you and all your stores. Should you PPP or should you just EIDL? Thanks, Ellen. I appreciate that. I really do. But I mean, I have done this. I'm out there with all of you. I know so many of your true numbers. I don't judge. This is not about judgment. It's about making you the best store you can be. So I've had a lot of discussions today about should you PPP or should you EIDL or should you do both. So if you are a smaller store or if you have a smaller payroll, okay, the PPP actually does not make sense. Unless your annual store payroll is north of $50,000, almost really approaching $60,000 for the extra legwork you have to do for the PPP, it does not make sense to do it. Okay, so if your payroll is under $50,000 annually, the PPP is not something you should do. Okay, you need to look at that seriously, because the actual benefit, if you just do the EIDL loan, the economic injury disaster loan, and your payroll is under $50,000, and you take the $10,000 advance, okay, you will end out better, okay, because the $10,000 advance that is part of the economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL, as it is being pronounced, comes off the PPP if you take that. So in a lot of stores with smaller payrolls, that doesn't make sense to do. It makes sense to just take the EIDL, which has no reporting requirements for the $10,000 except for that you're not committing fraud, okay? Doesn't count against your EIDL loan and requires no further reporting requirements. So that is huge for the stores with smaller payrolls. It's a gift of 10 grand. Take it, be thankful, and don't fool around with the PPP. Stores with larger payrolls, doing both the EIDL and the PPP makes sense. And it makes sense for most stores to do that versus the tax cut that's available. Because if you don't take the PPP, you're also eligible for the tax cut. And even stores with smaller payrolls are eligible for that in the short run, where you can deduct. But that deduction is based per quarter that your sales are down by 50% or more. When your sales restore to 80% of their prior level, so if in this quarter your sales are down 50%, you can take the tax cut for wages during this quarter. If they're up to 80% of what they were during the next quarter, which is possible, okay, then you wouldn't get the tax cut for that whole quarter. So you have to watch that, especially because that quarter includes September. And I think by August, September, things are going to be rocking and rolling with this economy again, based on what I am seeing now. Hey, Carrie, and hey, Chris, thanks for joining us. So keep that in mind. If you're considering the tax cut, you really got to watch that, because a lot of people... Ellen, you're going to do the PPP. Call me with Mike. We'll talk about it. You're going to do the PPP. Almost certainly. I can't imagine a situation where you wouldn't. But I'm happy to talk about it, and you know the number. And you know, just make sure that you get all this in, because I want you to get that. But the tax cut for most people, big companies, like I was working with a company earlier today that has big payroll, that is not a resale store, you know, that provides services and such, and their payroll has been maintained. You know, but their sales haven't dropped enough. The PPP is going to benefit them too. So you have to look at which one and do the math, and now's the time when you have to do it. So, because this economy is going to come roaring back. They have dumped so much money into this economy. The economy is going to come roaring back. Don't do... The only stupid thing I have heard out of anybody I have worked with, okay, and I have worked with countless. I mean, I've gotten my messages down to 50, so just under 50, so I'm excited about that, but I'm okay if you put me over 50 again, okay? The only dumb person I have worked with, and I have told them they were dumb, okay, and not being judgmental, is I did work, Krita, call me. Get on my call list, Krita. Message me, and you and I need to talk. And I know I keep on screwing it up, whether Krita, Kreta, and I know that, and I love you, and I love your husband, Ronnie. I even got that name right, didn't I? The funny guy. Okay. But call me. We gotta talk about your situation, and your staff, so we can follow up on that. But the only person I have told that is dumb, okay, is I worked with one situation this week that, Erica, message me and we'll talk about your exact situation and your exact payroll to see if it makes sense. Okay? I'm happy to sit there. We'll pink calculator it. I got the pink calculator. We will pink calculator it. Krita! Okay, I'm going to get this right. Thanks, Ellen. And you know how terrible I am with names, but I know exactly where her store is. I've been to it. I love Krita. I love Ronnie. And we're gonna get to the other side. But the only person I have told they're dumb, and I reserve dumb for really dumb. You want to know what the dumbest thing I have had this week is? Okay, I worked with somebody, Rita with a K. Well, that's probably because Ronnie likes a margarita too, but hey, I like that. I like Ronnie. Melissa's joining us. All right, Melissa. All right. So the only person that I have told is dumb, and I'm going to tell everybody this situation. Out of the last, God knows how many calls and people I've worked with, and I work with everybody I really, truly enjoy that I can give at this time, okay, is a person who was so pumped up about what the economy is going to hold in the future that they took out a home equity loan, okay? And what is their plan with that home equity loan? Their plan is to take $180,000. $180,000. This is the plan they came to me with. $180,000. And put it into the stock market because the stock market is undervalued. So not only are they going to lose $180,000, they're going to lose their house in this whole thing. And I told them they were freaking stupid. And I don't tell people they're freaking stupid very often. Okay? But that deserved a new level of stupid. Okay? I'm going to get you, if you're not stupid, I'm going to get you to the other side. And we are going to be resale strong. And we are going to be the hottest industry going. I promise you that. And I'm honestly helping every industry. I am helping so many people across all industries. Helped the glass company yesterday. Helped restaurants, food service. I'm helping people in a variety of industries. And I'm happy to do that because, and you've all told me other businesses you've shared these videos with, because it's important to get the right information out there. So we've talked about PPP versus EIDL. We've talked about payroll. Another thing to keep in mind. So I am right, Nikki, and it's all about attitude. We're going to get to the other side of this, and we're going to be awesome and amazing. Amazing. The best days are ahead of us. They are not behind us. They are ahead of us. And I promise you that. And I'm going there with all of you. Every single one of you. Unless you were closing. There's only one store. There is one store that has contacted me that had planned on closing before this. Okay? And even they are getting some benefit from this. Okay? So I don't have a problem. They had a planned... Absolutely, Erica. They had a plan to close before all this happened. So... even with that happening, I worked with them on a plan to not only plan their closing, and I hooked them up with Angie Hulu's of AngieK.com, because she's done some great planning with helping close stores that are at a point of closing. She's also working on awesome marketing materials and websites for people, but she's done that. So I hooked them up with that. But they're also going to get the $10,000 from the EIDL. Okay, that's just a grant, okay? So they're going to come out $10,000, they're going to be able to sell their inventory, have a proper closing sale after this is all over, and get to the other side. But they were planning that before, and that's okay, because that was part of their life plan, to move on to their next phase in life. And so that's cool, and I was happy to help them and talk with them today about that. So one other tax note while we're talking taxes for a second. Those of you that are getting lease concessions, okay, that have taken the landlord letter, that have taken, that landlord has waived your rent, gotten any type of change to your rent. From a technical perspective, okay, I think this is all going to get worked out because it's a nationwide issue. And the National Retail Federation is working with the Financial Accounting Standards Board and the SEC, because you got to keep in mind there's a lot of public companies seeking rent concessions, okay? But there is a huge accounting issue with how those concessions are done. And potentially, depending on how that's handled, it could be an income event for you, okay? I throw that out there so it's in the back of our head as a discussion item. I expect that to get resolved through guidance from Treasury, the Financial Accounting Standards Board, and others, because this is a huge issue across tens of thousands of leases. It's, the big guys are going to help us solve this, and we'll be thankful for it. But I wanted to make you aware of that there could be a potential income event from that. So stay tuned for more information on that. I will have more as it becomes available. But the National Retail Federation is lobbying both the Financial Accounting Standards Board and the SEC, and it will ultimately be the IRS on this because of that. So just have that in the back of your head. And granted, even if there's an income event because of that, it's not the worst thing because you saved all the money that you might have been paying. So just understand with how leases are handled, and the majority of retailers, big guys, small guys, lease because it offers flexibility and everything else. So that's an important thing. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Jenny, what I mean is you're getting a benefit from it. They might get a benefit from it, but there could be a tax implication because that's actually, depending on how the IRS handles it, it could be an income event to you. It's not really an income event to them, but it is increasing, because you're supposed to carry the full cost of the lease on your books. There's an accounting standard where you're carrying that lease as a liability because you're on the hook for it. So you're on the hook for $50,000, $500,000, $1 million. I remember sitting with a landlord once when we were negotiating, when we first went big, okay? I mean, when we first went from a little tiny store to a big store, and it was, I'm like, nobody's ever going to agree to this and everything else. And, I was negotiating with them, and the landlord was like, you're arguing about a nickel. I'm like, no, I'm arguing about $45,000. He's like, nobody argues. No, where'd you get that number? I'm like, well, for a nickel times so many square feet times the number of years this lease is, that's $45,000. That's what I'm talking about. And he's like, nobody looks at the big number. I'm like, I always look at the big number. You should always look at the big number. And I look at that with everything. I look at that when I buy a car. It's not about that. It's always about the big number, even if you're financing. They always want you to look at the payment, how much you're going to pay a month, how much you're paying per square foot. All of that. It's all that matters is the big number. Okay, everything comes from that. So I always work from the big number. There's so many stories I could tell you of that, but it was a real moment with a landlord when I said, no, I'm not arguing about a nickel. I'm arguing about $45,000. But depending on how, I expect it to get resolved because there's too many big guys that this affects. And there's too many public companies that this will affect down the line. And especially if the Treasury bribes the commercial mortgage market on this, it'll definitely get fixed. So I'm not too worried about it, but I wanted you to be aware that the potential for a situation exists with that in everything. So absolutely, Michelle, big numbers matter, okay? And that's, what sleeps at night. But I mean, I'm a numbers guy. I sleep fine with those numbers, Could he? Yes, if he's a real schmo, Kelly. Could your landlord double dip? Yeah, but I don't expect that to happen because if your landlord actually gets true relief, okay, if your landlord gets relief from Congress, okay, and the Treasury in this, it's going to then be legislated down that there's a abatement of rent. So I don't expect there to be really the ability to double dip. The biggest thing that landlords are going to be able to take advantage of right now, depending on their size and the number of people that they employ, is the PPP, like I worked with one of my landlords to help him take advantage of. And that is the biggest advantage that they can take advantage of right now. And they should. Their cash register is not ringing. Literally, when I had that conversation with him the other day and he called me to make sure he was to understand the PPP, I was like, your register is not ringing. And he's like, no, nobody's paying. He's got 500,000 square feet plus of commercial real estate. And he's like, nobody's paying. His brother-in-law owns the Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, not paying. Okay, all these people don't, the Dunkin' Donuts is only open limited hours now. All these things. It's a huge trickle down. but the government is priming so much money. We are going to recover, and we are going to come back roaring. This whole economy is going to be roaring on the other side of it. So do not fear. The only thing to fear is the virus, and it's getting close, okay? The virus is getting close. It's real. No matter what part of the country you are, if you're in North Dakota or the other Dakota or the middle of nowhere, okay? The 6 degrees of separation between you and the virus is real. Okay, if you didn't see the post earlier where we were, Kathy White in Connecticut from Stork Exchange, I know where she is, I know her, okay, was talking about her brother-in-law passed away from the virus. So this is getting very real. That's 2 people away. I know Kathy, her brother-in-law. So this is 2 people away, okay? That's very real, okay? This is a very real situation. And I'm very optimistic, and I am hopeful that when we get to the middle of the month, that the death figures that we're being warned of, that the trend starts coming down, that we're not going to hit the 250,000 number. I like to be optimistic that all the measures that we're taking in this country is going to keep us from that. But I don't know. I am not a medical professional. I'm the son of a pharmacist. I have a lot of medical knowledge, but I do not know this science about this. If I could do science, I would be a pharmacist probably. But that's a story for another day. Okay, so we've talked about that. Again, phone numbers to remember in all this with the SBA is the 800-366 number is a number to remember. If you get an 800-366 number, take it. If you get an 817 number, take the call. Those are both SBA phone numbers. Take the call. So with that, I want to also take a minute to talk about Canada. Okay? Our friends in Canada, we have a lot of members in Canada. Some of them are on this call tonight. And I wanted to talk for a moment about Canadian relief efforts in this. Okay? Canada, I got to give a lot of credit. I mean, granted, they are a socialist government, unlike our democratic process here, okay, that, as my friend Sonia would say, the American Congress could complicate a ham sandwich, okay? She taught me that line, and she was talking about her father at the time, but Sonia, who is better than before, and we will all be better than we were before, taught me that line about that man could complicate a ham sandwich, and so can the United States Congress. In Canada, they have tremendously simplified things and created great benefits to businesses and to their citizens to keep the economy moving. They've pumped incredible money into it, and you as a business owner in Canada should take advantage of the things that are available to you. They've made it incredibly simple, and I'm going to cover a few highlights here. Okay, so Canada to staff is giving $2,000 a month emergency fund payments. They register for that online starting Monday. And then you as a business don't have to lay them off. It's currently good for 4 months, and that may be extended. There's a wage subsidy that'll cover 75% of your payroll if you are, hang on a second, I'm going to cover this correct. I want to cover this correctly. That's retroactive to March 15th to eliminate further job losses. Okay, the wage subsidy is based on revenues from its business carried in Canada during the previous period, the same time last year. So up to a maximum benefit of $8.47 per week per employee. So while Canada is actually crediting you in taxes that amount of remuneration, which will cover most of our salaries of people in Canada. It'll cover up to 100% of the first 75% during the eligible period, which is March 15th to April 11th, is period 1. April 12th to May 9th is the second period, and May 10th to June 6th is the following period. If your revenues are down 50% compared to the period in 2019, you'll get the full 75% subsidy of salaries during that time. So, and they make the process for applying very, very easy. Tomorrow we will post the Canadian links as part of the NARTS Resale Strong website. That'll all get posted there to this information on the wages. It's very, very simple, incredibly streamlined. So I'm very proud of our Canadian neighbors. Cheers to my Canadian neighbors. I have been there twice. I've been in Canada twice this year so far, and I look forward to coming to Canada again with nicer weather. I keep on being told that Canada is beautiful in the summer. I have yet to be invited there during the summer, but I would like to come there during the summer and take. Toronto's a beautiful city. Newfoundland, I was covered in 4 feet of snow. I mean, if any of you think you have it bad, look at Karen in Newfoundland. Newfoundland? I'm going to get it right one of these times, Karen. I'm going to take a language course. Okay? St. John's, okay? She had the 4 feet of snow and closed for weeks. She's had COVID-19 closing her down, and she's doing awesome. So I'm getting invited there next summer, which might be the first chance I get for a vacation between now and then. But we're all going to get there, okay? And we're going to have a positive attitude, and we're going to get there because that is our plan. Maybe NARTS next year will be in Newfoundland. Maybe they'll be able to accommodate us all. I don't know if Adele will go over the border to Canada, but maybe we can do something and just have a mini Canadian conference. We are going to be okay, Karen, and it's going to be awesome. So the other big benefit that Canada is offering is they're offering you a loan that can partially be credited. We are all going to be okay. Canadians, Americans, everybody's going to be okay. So this loan that Canada is offering, okay, is, see, Kitty's going to come. I think we should do so. I actually think nothing against Newfoundland, which I had a great time in, even in the middle of freaking winter, with you, Karen. I'm thinking maybe Toronto. Maybe our friends in Toronto can host us. Gorgeous city. Again, from what I see in the winter, everybody only has me in the winter, in the off season. The pink calculator travels in summer too, just saying. In Canada, they are offering $40,000 loans, okay, which you basically get as long as you pay it back by, I think they've extended it to 2022, January of 2022. If you pay $30,000 of it back, so they're offering you a $40,000 cash infusion, so you have working capital right now, which is what businesses need. They need liquidity, working capital. $40,000 of working capital. If you pay $30,000 of it back by January of 2022, $10,000 of it is yours free and clear. Okay? So what I'm recommending to my Canadian people is take it, okay? Park the $30,000 to the side, because again, we don't know officially when the end of this is, okay? I'm feeling good about when the end is going to be, but we don't know for sure. So park the $30,000 to the side, use some of it if you need to, but keep on replenishing it. Don't repay that automatically yet. That $10,000 is yours free and clear, okay, for being a good Canadian business. And it's just that simple. I mean, Canada Canadian. Well, you know, you got your Toonsies and Toonsies. I don't know. I'm not good with all this French and American stuff. But you have that. The 10 grand will be yours again, with the exception of fraud. All of this money that the governments are Toolies. All right, say thank you. I always carry a $2 Toonies. Okay, Toonies. I always carry a $2 US bill on me, and I carry it for no other reason than my father always had a $2 bill, and it's still valid US currency. And my father carried it for no other reason than his father always carried it. So, because I've asked my aunt, there's got to be deeper meaning behind this $2 bill than that. But sometimes I give out these $2 bills. I use them at lemonade stands when the kid on the corner has a lemonade stand and stuff, just to teach it. I use them for things like that. But we are coming back super strong from this. The Canadian government has made it super simple. Take advantage of this stuff. We will post the resources to the Canadian links tomorrow because NARTS is the world's largest resale association. And I will send all that so that Adele has been awesome about posting and updating those pages for me so that I can spend my time on the phone returning your phone calls and dealing with your individual situations. I love that, Michelle. That is awesome. That makes me want to come to Virginia Beach even more than the that you've got Krispy Kremes for me. I think I'm just gonna. Yes. If any Canadians have questions, Karen is the ultimate expert on Canada. Okay, she's had the time to get expert on everything Canada. Not bad for an expat. Who's soon going to also have a store in Arizona, but that's a whole separate conversation. But I love that, Michelle. That is awesome. I think, when this is all over, I'm going to do a massive store tour and come out and visit stores all over the country that we helped survive, that we helped get to the other side of this, and I am super excited to do that. We're going to go on a tour, either in a big RV. I can't decide whether I'm going to do it in a big RV or I'm going to get it sponsored by Lexus, because I drive my Lexus everywhere, and my Lexus has hundreds of thousands of miles, and a lot of times I've been to places that give me, that I've been in a Lexus loaner, because Lexus, mine hit its mileage and needs service, and Lexus gives me that. I had a great time in Illinois. When I was with you, Kitty. So I'm gonna do a massive. I can't wait to be able to travel again and do that. You guys know I love the road, and you never know where that's gonna take you. Hey, I am here for all of you. I will be back again tomorrow night at 8. Tomorrow, Sunday. Remember what our theme of Sundays is. It is Self-Care Sunday. So I want you to be doing something to care for yourself tomorrow. Okay? Be thinking about that tonight, but be doing something for Self-Care Sunday. Tomorrow, I will probably be a little lighter on the return phone calls. I do have a meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock to get the latest update from the Treasury and the Small Business Administration, so I'll be on a meeting with folks in Washington, getting that so that I can report on that tomorrow night. I'm expecting some updates and guidance on some changes in the PPP, and just clarification. You got to keep in mind some of these banks didn't participate because of the last-minute change in the language, but that's all getting fixed up. So I will be back here tomorrow night with the latest and greatest on all of that as we head into the new week. But it is Self-Care Sunday, so take some time for you. Take some time to care for you. We'll probably do a nice big brunch here tomorrow and chill a little bit, so I may not return as many calls tomorrow. But absolutely message me, and I will get you on the list. And I will return everybody's call. There will be no call that doesn't get returned. So keep that in mind. Do not hesitate to message me, Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com. Do not hesitate to message me. I will get back to you. Don't stress if I don't get back to you that same day. I will get back to you. I call everybody, every single person. If you get a call from a 508 number, if you get a FaceTime from a 508 number, okay, you know it is coming from Neil. Okay, so Neil at ECIstores.com, Neil. I do weddings, I do bar mitzvahs, I do birthday parties, I do...
Second part of that reading?
Oh, I haven't done my second part of my reading. Hang on a second, I'm getting yelled at because I haven't done my second part of my reading. Thank you for reminding me.
You do the beginning part and then do the second part.
Okay, so at the beginning... Okay, so for those of you that weren't here for the early reading, I'm reading from this book, Good Morning, Good Night, by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Okay? I know I should know that name. Hamilton! I've seen Hamilton. The rumors that I fell asleep during part of it are totally untrue. I don't sit down much, people. I'm not a sitter. When I sit down, I get tired. Okay? Hey, Molly. So, my good morning from this book today was things may never be like this again. That could be good news or bad news to you. But it's true nonetheless. Good morning. My closing, my good night, is everything is changing all the time. May as well lean into it. Good night. So, good night, resale family. You and especially you, are not alone running this store. It is dinner time. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Don't be late. Have a great night. Self-Care Sunday tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Take some moments. Ellen, I want to hear about your beach tomorrow. I want to hear what all of you are doing for Self-Care Sunday. That is what I will be asking you. Have a great night.